music.
I don't hear it.
Good
Oh,
I hear
that's
it.
afternoon.
me.
Oh, I hear it. It's low.
Good morning, everybody. This is your Isight community broadcast for the week of April 28, 2023. I am your host, Gabriel Bruce, and I have my co-host with me, Miss VIP, Katrina Gravel. How you doing today?
Good.
Doing good. It's a Friday. You got the Friday vibe going on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's early. Got plans for the day.
Yeah, a little bit. What
A
about
little
yourself?
bit. Yeah, we're gonna get out here and see what the weekend got going on.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
you know, do our thing. You know how us blind people do. We out here in
Yeah,
these streets.
definitely. We be getting it.
Yeah, we out here getting it and having fun and being in the community. So April on the way out. So May coming up. Got anything planned for the month of May? You know, again, summertime. Time to take out the bathing suits, ain't
Bathing suits, the
it?
booty shorts, the tank tops, the crop tops, the flip flops, all that.
do people still wear flip flops?
Yeah, I do. I love them.
They always bust open when I put them on these big feet.
Oh, you got the cheap brand then.
Yeah, yeah, I get the dollar store brand. You
Oh
know,
yeah, that's why.
the dollar kind, the Dollar Tree, not even the Dollar General. I go to the Dollar Tree.
Well, that's why.
Well, we got a special guest with us today, a friend to the room, somebody we both know, and we're gonna let her introduce herself, and we're gonna have some conversation today. It's on you.
Hello, my name is Octavia Campbell.
So, how you doing, Octavia?
I'm doing well.
Doing good. Life treating you good. Everything great. You know.
Yeah, I can't complain.
I hear you. You know,
Not at all.
like we always say, another day above ground, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And if you did complain, what good would it do? No?
it won't change a thing.
Not nothing.
That don't make us feel good when we get out and complain. When we wake up just complaining, that don't make you feel a little better.
That seems like it'd be more miserable to me. But hey.
Exactly.
So
But
okay.
what's there to complain about when you wake up? You
For
still
real.
breathing. You still able to move.
Hey, that's nothing to complain about. Something to be
Mm-mm,
thankful for, though.
Yeah, time to wake
mm-mm.
up grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful.
So tell us about yourself, Octavia. Where you
Uh,
from, and you know.
I'm from America's TA,
Mm-hmm.
born and bred there. Well, um, and but I was all over the place because I was a army brat, so
Okay.
we went all over. But I was born in Americas, and but I reside in Middle Georgia now in Macon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Middle Georgia.
yeah. Recently moved in
Oh, okay.
January.
Okay. So, how you like making so far?
Macon is cool
Mm-hmm.
because being from a smaller town, transportation wasn't all that. Macon, I can get around.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
And so, tell us about you. You, as an individual.
Oh, I don't know where to start. Which one?
Katrina.
Which one to know?
We know that a lot of people that we interview on our site have visual impairment. So, do you have a visual impairment? And
Oh,
tell us
yes.
about that.
Yes, I am legally blind. I became visually impaired in 1988.
Okay.
Um, I have a birth defect.
Okay.
And as a result of it, I had to have two brain surgeries as an infant. And when I became 10, I had to have another surgery. And due to it, the spinal fluid damaged my optic nerve. So that's how I ended up being visually impaired.
Oh,
And Let's see what else about me.
Well, we know we have different levels of vision impairment. So the level of vision that you have right now.
um, far as numbers go, I
Okay.
see 2200 and 2400. So they
Okay.
said that I'm considered to be legally blind
Okay.
because it's, you know, because of
Right.
that. I don't see well at night. So I have to use a cane, which most of the time I use one anyway, because I have some mobility issues
Mm-hmm.
due to the the brain
Birth.
trouble. Yeah.
Right.
So I have mobility issues. So I usually have a cane with me at all times. Yeah.
So you said you dealt with your visual impairment at a young age. So
Yes.
how was that as a preteen and transitioning from getting ready to be a run around teenager to now being visually impaired?
Um, I would say the most annoying part was I was dealing with a lot at the time, so
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't get a chance to really deal with the vision problem until about a year or so later. Because what happened with me, in less than a year time, I had brain surgery, lost my vision, and had to go to a residential school. Now looking back on it, I think they should have got little Tay some therapy because that was a lot to deal with,
Right.
and learning how to function when you're used to looking for stuff. And the biggest part for me was before I learned Braille was reading because I
Okay.
love to read.
Mm-hmm.
I read at least 4 or 5 books a week.
Okay. And then you had to transition into reading
Oh,
Braille.
right, and I could still read some print, but the problem was I couldn't read hours on end like I used to. Now that part devastated me more than just about anything. Trying to get used to that. And then when I went back to public school and trying to adjust being visually impaired at public school, and they didn't want to help me really. My teachers did, but the powers that be, the LEA and stuff. So
Right.
that's when they said she need to go to the academy because they
Okay.
didn't want to deal.
So
And
tell me about the academy. I hear a lot about the academy. Tell me about the academy.
mm, ooh, I got so much mixed emotions on my. I will say this. I thank God for my journey.
Okay.
I thank Him for it because I met lifelong friends. Um, I learned some different things. Had some teachers that were there for me and dedicated to me, and a couple of them I still keep in touch with. The ones that are
Mm-hmm.
still, among the living.
Okay.
So overall, I I thank God for my journey. Um, it was something to get used to, especially living in the dorms in the cottages. It
Mm-hmm.
was something to get used to. Um, I like the school aspect more than I did the dorm life. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, because I
Uh,
had some, they called them house parents then, and
mm-hmm.
I had some interesting ones. So
Shouldn't have
yeah,
been thrown into um, that situation as a
mhm,
child. It could have a traumatic effect. So
yeah.
how did that young Tay feel at that time, being at the academy, being away from home, being blind, all
I
wrapped
felt
up in one?
I felt abandoned. I felt like I was in the wilderness because, like I said, the the house parents wasn't that friendly, and I know some people say that they have to do tough love with certain people, but that
Mm-hmm.
approach doesn't work with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on the situation or what the person is going through. And though I went home every weekend when I first started, but that Sunday night to Thursday night was, oh my goodness. And it was hard on my mom too, because she was coming to Macon like every other day when that first year I was there to check
Mhm.
on me.
Mhm.
And it was just as hard on her as it was on me, um, and everything. So, yeah.
So,
But I make friends kind of quickly. So that was the cool thing about it.
Katrina, you want to ask her any questions? Man, lost her. So tell us about your family life. Tell me about your family, siblings,
Yeah. Well,
husband, married.
I'm single, but I'm the oldest of five children by my mom and dad, and eight of my dad. Cause he has three
Mhm.
additional children, so I'm the oldest. I uh, Let me see what else about them. We're a close knit family. My
Mhm.
siblings and I, we get into it or whatever like that, but we always have each other back, and we
Mhm.
spend a lot of time together and stuff. And because my family got together for every single thing or doing stuff and whatnot, that's one thing about ended up having to go to the academy that I missed too, because we were kind of like the movie Soul Food. We got
Okay.
together every Sunday at my grandma's house,
Okay.
all of her children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, and we eat and play games. And my family sings and stuff, so we would sit around and sing, you know, and all that. So yeah,
You think your family treated you any different once you became visually impaired?
no, my dad did while I was recovering
Mhm.
from my surgery. He was
Right.
like trying to help me and
Okay.
stuff. My mom, she told me, she said, "You got 6 weeks."
Mhm.
And once I was able to sit up and stuff, because the surgery, they put a shunt in my brain, and
Okay.
it goes all the way down my neck, down into my abdomen. So I was
Okay.
cut in my abdomen and my head. So
Right.
there was something to get, stronger for me and cut in two different areas. But
Mhm.
my mom would say, she told me when I came home, she said, "You got 2 weeks and you're going back to your chores." Because my chores at 10 was to clean the kitchen. I washed
Mhm.
dishes and cleaned the table off and stuff. And my brother swept and mopped. And
Okay.
the other ones were too little, they have jobs. So she told me, she said, "You got 2 weeks and you're going back to your job." And I said, "But I can't see." And she said, "You can feel." And she was the first one that showed me that. When I went to the academy and they were trying to show me that, I already
uh-huh.
knew how to do that. And they said, "How did you know that?" And I said, "My mom showed me." So,
So
yeah,
do
so
you?
she always was extra supportive. My daddy was a little more of the baby type thing, because he tries
Mhm.
to do that now. And I'm a 45-year-old woman, but my
Right.
mom was always, "You can do it. You can do it yourself,"
Mhm.
you know.
So we see that your mom played a very important role in your life during that transition. Do you
Yeah.
think that if it weren't for her, would you be a different person today if she wouldn't have never stepped up and said or did things that she did when it came to you?
I believe so, because everybody else wanted to show to me and she didn't. So when I wanted to do things, like when I went off to college,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't want me to go to college or go away, and I
Right.
went to college in Tifton at
Okay.
ABAC, and they didn't want me to go. And my
Okay.
mom was like, "Let her go to college. She can
Mm-hmm.
do it. Let her do her thing." And they were like, "Why don't she just go to GSW? It's right here in town." And she was like, "Let her go." And no matter where I want to go or where I want to move, she would say, "Bye." As soon as I said I went to go somewhere, "Bye."
Mm-hmm.
You know, she said, "You got to enjoy your life."
Okay.
Yeah, so she was
So
very encouraging.
so tell me about the teenage Octavia, the 20-year-old Octavia. Take us into that part of
Oh,
your life.
okay. As a teen, I don't know. I've always been a little on the. I never liked to get in trouble, so
You didn't get in
even look.
trouble?
Uh,
You didn't get in no trouble?
no, I didn't like to get in
Uh,
trouble, so I was the first one. My brother used to get mad at me because if mom would ask what happened, or
you
my dad would ask whatever,
you
I would
snitching.
I would snitch. Yeah, I told his name, rank, and serial number because I wasn't finna get in trouble.
You could snitch on your brother
I
though.
told it.
On your
He went
big
out the
brother?
window. That wasn't me. I didn't lock. Left that window open. That was
Mm-hmm.
him. He went out to see Fat. That was his
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, his son's mother's name, nickname. They
Mm-hmm.
called her Fat. I said he
Right.
went out the window to see Fat.
You
I ain't
told it
had nothing to do
all.
with that. And so they were like, "Oh, okay then.
You ain't
Thanks
had
for
to say
telling."
nothing. You didn't even have to tell
But they
on
tell me
brother.
if I don't say something that
Uh,
I'm gonna get punished.
uh,
So
oh, okay.
that's why,
So you already knew what it was gonna be. But
right?
did they tell on you though?
Huh?
Did your brother and them tell on you?
It wasn't nothing to tell because I didn't do too much. They
uh,
talk. They say that to this day that I'm lame, that I don't do nothing.
okay.
Unbeknownst to them, I've done stuff,
Yeah, but
because
they
we've
don't.
always been human.
Right.
But but I didn't do the outrageous stuff like they did. Obvious different things.
Okay.
Plus, the difference too was that I was gone most of the time.
Hmm. So you see, you went off to college. How was the college experience, being blind? Because we know a vision impaired. We know a lot of um, vision impaired girls or guys right now aspire to have that college experience, and they may be scared or they may have some reserves. So how was that experience, going off to college, and did the academy prepare you for the college life?
Um, well, I asked the second question first.
Okay.
No, they did. They started getting better after
Mhm.
I graduated or whatever, but
Mhm.
they didn't. And I went to a school in Atlanta for testing and stuff,
Mhm.
and the lady was saying that you can make it in college. She said, "I believe you can." She said, "But I see plenty of people that come through here, and they're not not that today's era." They
Mhm.
have different programs and whatnot. But when
Right.
I went to school there was only the general education or the special education. Those
Okay.
was the only two tracks. But after I graduated, years later and stuff, they started having college prep and vocation and all that stuff.
Okay.
but they, but it was for the grace of God and the fact that I was naturally intelligent by His
Right.
grace
Mhm.
that I was able to do pretty decent. Now I didn't have any problems with the people being messy toward me or anything.
Right.
When I went to college, I went to they have disability service people. Sometimes they call it that, and sometimes they call it student support.
Right.
And they will you give them proof of your disability, and they usually come up with accommodations that'll work for you. And my vision was better than what it is now, so I could read different print and stuff then. So I didn't have any too much trouble. And if I need to know where I was going, I asked. I was bold enough to ask, and I didn't have to use a cane or anything then. So a lot of times, but I did tell people because sometimes they wonder why you don't see something if they hand it to you or do whatever. And I said,
Mhm.
look, I got a visual impairment, you know, da da da. And they were like, oh, okay. Um, I had some haters for some of the girls.
Okay.
I was like 19 or so, and some of them were 20, 21. And it was one of the guys that was the star of the basketball
Oh,
team.
you out here dating?
Yeah, he started dating me, we
Okay.
started dating,
All
and
right.
he was like super cool, and he would
Mhm.
walk up me from the dances back to our dorm, and
Okay.
all this other stuff. And so they would say they called him Snap because he was real tall and skinny, because they used to call
Mhm.
him Snap Bean. And so he dropped the bean part and then called him Snap. And so he would he got mad because they were saying, well, what you like that blind girl for anyway? She
Mhm.
ain't this, she ain't that, kind of thing. And he would be ready to fight. And I'm like, you
Right.
can't fight these girls because they talking about me.
Mhm.
And it did make me feel a little uncomfortable.
Oh,
But
I
I
can imagine.
realized that that was their issue, not
Right.
mine. That I've accepted, that this is God's will for me now.
Mhm.
It may be for the rest of my life. I don't know. They say it's permanent, but he has the final say.
Mhm.
So I don't but I'm cool with them myself. So if they got a problem, my brother used to say that's a personal problem. So
Right.
that's their personal issues. But be surprised so many people have issues with it. And you're like, well, why you have an issue with something that I have to deal with?
Right. So you think they had an issue more about you just being with Snap, or as a attractive 19-year-old, or versus you being vision impaired and being with Snap?
I think it was the whole everything,
Okay.
because they talked about me for being smart. I got talked
Right.
about that a lot. And
Mhm.
also the fact that I don't see what he sees in her,
Right.
that kind of thing. And they were focusing more on the visual impairment.
So
And
what made you less appealing in their eyes?
because they kept
Because,
saying I can't see good. They kept
right.
saying she can't. What make him want to talk to her? See this, see that, and they be like, "Well, she's smart, and and see this, is it?" And they like,
Mhm.
no, but she can't see good." That's what they kept
Right.
going back to. And he said, "I don't see that." And he told them that. He said, "She's smart, she's pretty." He said, "She's talented. I like her." And they're like, "Yeah, but she can't see good,"
Right.
kind of thing. I've even had some of them try to trip me up.
Oh yeah. Just
Like
because
they
of.
put out that to make you fall,
Mhm.
kind of thing. And when all that was going on, I told him, "Why don't we just stop talking then? Because I don't want to make it hard on you." And he said, "Forget that. I want to be with you, so don't worry about that."
So what happened to old Snap?
What happened was I went back to Albany
Mhm.
because and he graduated from ABAC and went to Georgia State. And
Mhm.
then he went to um, medical college at UGA.
Okay.
And so now he's works at he works at Emory Hospital as a doctor. And
Mhm.
my best friend at the time, my friend Kim, she and I still keep in touch. She was dating his roommate who was on the basketball team, and he is a lawyer now. And she
Oh, okay.
tells she tells me from time to time, she said, "Girl, we messed up." She said, "Now we sitting here." She said, "With this small income, and they up there in mansions." She said, "We messed up."
Messed up.
So yeah, but I put that's the nice way she said it. She said
Yeah.
messed up, and I was like, "Oh my!" But really, we just how you get
Right.
busy and you just
Mhm.
end up growing apart. That's what happened. You get busy, that one get busy and stuff. So
Do you have any regrets in your life in those years other than losing Snap?
no, I really don't. I think I've had
Mhm.
a good complete life and everything. Only thing that I would say that bugs me the most, and it's something I have no control over, so I
Right.
try not to let it worry me, is
Mhm.
the fact that it's so hard to find employment that
Okay.
um I used to put the academy on my resumes and I
Mhm.
didn't get any interviews. So I said,
Mhm.
well, since I've graduated these amount of times, I graduated 4 times.
Okay.
I got a bachelor's and 3 diplomas. And
Mhm.
so I stopped putting the academy on there because I'm like,
Okay.
obviously I have a high school because I have all these other ones. So when I stopped putting the academy on it, I started getting interviews left and
Mm-hmm.
right. Honestly, it started getting interviews. So I started going, and then I would tell them that I'm visually impaired. You know, when they ask you if you need accommodations or whatever, and I
Right.
said, "Well, I'm gonna honestly tell you all, I have a visual impairment," and da da da. And they say, "You do?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I explained to them what I can see and what I can't see and stuff. And then they don't realize it, some of them, I guess, but they don't realize that I can see their faces and see the expression change. And I'm
Right.
like, even if I couldn't see the expression change, you can hear the voice change,
Mm-hmm. Right.
the tone of voice that totally changes. And my bachelor's is in early childhood, so mainly most of my background is with children and stuff. And they'll say, you are a safety risk for you to watch, see about kids. And I said, no, ma'am, that's not true. And I said, because there has to be two adults in the room with the little kids anyway. So there's not no safety issues. And then one told me that there's no such thing. They never ever heard of a blind teacher.
Mm.
So I started naming different ones and stuff. And they said, well, we like to meet them because there's no such thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I'm like, so I think that for me personally, that's the part that bugs me the most because, you thank God um for what you can get through disability and whatnot, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really not enough to meet your needs and stuff like you want it to.
So why is it so hard to get a job in today's society being visually impaired?
I think because preconceived notions, thinking, and I think they're thinking too, if that was me, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been asked, how do you manage? And I mean, what? And I'm like, excuse me? They're like, how do you manage? How do you cook? How do you clean? And I explained to them, and they said, well, how do you can tell if meat done? And I said, you
Mm-hmm.
ever heard people say put a fork in it? And they like, yeah. And they say, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. And they said,
Right.
yeah. I said, well, if the fork go all the way through the meat, it's done.
Mm.
And they was like, wow, I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah. Exactly. I said, plus, if you have some vision, you utilize your vision and your other skills. The combo platter. And if you don't have any vision, you utilize your other skills. So that's uh that's what I tell them. But they so amazed, or they say, "Who take care of you?"
Mm-hmm.
And when I say God, then they think I'm being sarcastic. I'm like, I take care of myself.
So you live alone?
Yes, I
And
have lived alone since I moved out from my mom when I was 19.
so to that young lady who's thinking about moving out of mom's house and living on her own, but she's reserved, she's skeptical, parents are skeptical, family skeptical, what would you say to that situation, to that person, about how they can manage themselves on living alone?
I would tell them they can do it. You make you a budget, a plan, um, and you have everything situated in your house for you, for your comfort, and that you can do it. And if you need to reach out to somebody, don't be scared to reach out, but there's no fear in it. It's, just do it.
Is there any negative things that could be perceived about a female living alone that's visually impaired?
Um, I wouldn't, now me personally, I wouldn't tell everybody you live there by yourself because
Okay.
people are evil.
Right.
And not everybody, but there's enough out there that are evil that are bother a woman by herself anyway. But if they know you have some type of disability
Mm-hmm.
or impairment, then they may be eager to, um, jump on and do whatever. So I would never tell, advertise it that I live alone
Right.
or whatever. Even me, people pretty much don't know that I live alone. You know,
Right.
my neighbors or whatever, because my sister and stuff come back and forth a lot, and my brother-in-law. And one of my dear friends told me to put some shoes outside. And I've done that before. And my brother has a whole bunch of his old t-shirts. And my
Mm-hmm.
brother is like 6'5". And he's like 350. So some of his
Yes.
t-shirts, I
I
put
didn't,
them out there like they're trying to dry.
yeah. Okay.
Over the post.
Just
And
get
so,
some kind of idea.
yeah.
Don't come mess with me, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
some people, would take advantage of that. And also some people though, you can tell, you just have to have a discerning spirit on it, because some people look out for you. Because I've lived in some rough areas in Albany
Mm-hmm.
before, and when
Mm-hmm.
they knew I was there by myself, those people looked out for me. They made sure nobody came near me or anything. But I don't know people like that here, so we're not letting anybody know anything. I'm just
Yeah.
coming on
Keep
in and having whatever. And you know what? Technology is such a big help as well,
right.
having cameras and other things. The only problem I have with technology, especially for the visually impaired and stuff, is everything is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Besides your phone stuff, your smartphone stuff, but buying other different devices is so expensive. Yeah, it'll help, but you
Right.
can't afford to, to get
And that's true.
them.
So you married, you single,
I am
kids, dating. What's
single,
the
no children. Um,
so you're available. So guys, you're available.
Yeah, I'm single right this minute.
So,
I'm praying that somebody
single
come
and
along.
praying. So
Yeah,
y'all can
yeah.
look up on christianmingle.com, blindpeoplemeet.com,
Oh no, I'm not on
plenty of
any of that.
fish,
I'm not on none of those.
Tinder.
I don't even know what Tinder is. Oh my goodness.
You desire to
I
get married?
Yes, I would love to be married. When I was younger, I used to always picture myself being married. Even as a little girl, I used to put the towel on my head for my veil,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to write out invitations to my wedding.
Okay, so
Yeah, I used to write invitations. I used to write programs with song lists I wanted.
y'all hear guy hear that she's single and already prepared. She wedding ready.
I used to tell my mom that. I said, I got everything together. I'm just missing one thing. And she said, what? And I said, the groom. And she said, well, baby, that's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
find a groom.
I said, I got everything else together. I said, but I'm missing that. Um, but a lot of people think, like this guy that's trying to talk to me now, he
Mm-hmm.
thinks that's weird that I want that.
Right,
And and I told him I always have, but I got my reasons why. And I told him that I'm not weird for wanting what I want, and he's not
right.
weird for wanting what he wants. Because he just wants to date and scratch, basically, access to people cookies. And
Okay.
I told him that I'm not that type. That And
Mhm.
he was like, "Oh well." I said, "Well, you might want to move on. I ain't knocking you, but you might want to move on."
Well, at least you gave him the option.
Right, right. You have to tell people that because And I was teasing when I said these gourmet cookies, everybody can't
Mhm.
have that, you know. So, and he was like, "Well, but to each his own." But I'm waiting, like Job said in the Bible, I'm waiting till my change come.
Okay. So we know you make a lot of references due to your spirituality. So
Yeah.
you go to church.
Yes. I feel funny if I don't go,
Okay. So you
cause I
grew up
just
in the church.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So.
but I how you go through the motions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much went through the motions growing up, but when I was 17, and I ended up getting sick and cried out to the Lord about my sickness and whatnot. And the pastor asked me that night, did I believe in him? And I said, I do. And he said, you believe he exists? And he said, if you confess and believe, you're saved. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. And I'm just saying that I didn't fall down. But like Dr. McClurkin said, you get back up again.
Right.
And, and I've been striving, you know, striving. So,
So how do people perceive you at church being visually impaired? Because we know.
oh, it depends.
Yeah.
Some of them act goofy and some of them don't. Or they'll tell me, I get this often at church and other places, you're so smart to be blind. And I said, my vision has nothing to do with my intellect. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. Or you sure can sing to be visually impaired. I'm like, what my voice got to do with my eyeballs? Or I get this, oh, I should have known you should be able to sing because, Ray Charles and Stevie can sing. I'm like, I ain't never met neither one of them men.
That one on my
So,
dad.
so how in the world, you know,
So the
this,
vision impairment is the negative outcome in that equation.
you know
Like you can
what?
sing, the singing part is higher than the visual impaired. Like you can sing so good to be blind. Like being blind has a certain level that you should be on.
Yeah, like if you're vision impaired, you shouldn't be able to do none of
Right.
these other things. That's when I
Hmm.
get the implication of.
Right. Right.
But that's not true. And I'm not. And another question people ask me often, you say it a lot, like you're visually impaired, like you're not ashamed. I said, I'm not. That's a part of me, just like I'm African American, and just like I'm a woman. I'm visually impaired. That's just
Hmm.
it. And to God see fit otherwise, that's it. I'm not ashamed.
You ever go through bouts of depression or being down due to your visual impairment or some of the hang-ups and lack of opportunities and things that's going on in today's era?
Yes, yes. I used to stay down. And I had a dear friend that I always asked to uh, keep me lifted. But the main thing
Hmm.
with getting me down was the not working part because you
Hmm.
sitting there idle. And then, in the idle mind, when you ain't got nothing
Right.
to do and just stuff come on your mind. Plus, you got needs and some
Right.
wants. And,
Hmm.
because, and to me, it's harder because it'd be different if I wasn't qualified, but I am.
Okay.
And I've shown people that I can work well. I
Hmm.
am qualified, but they still won't hire me. So then I'm going without.
So
You
how do
know,
we change that narrative? How do we level that playing field? What do we, as vision impaired individuals, need to do to get the people to understand that we want to be included too? So where do we
I
start?
I don't I don't know because I've said it to them before down that way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I gave this example one time on a job interview that I went on. I said people down here in Southwest Georgia, I said they look at visually impaired and blind people like they just saw a unicorn or something.
Hmm.
Some kind of mythic creature that they don't understand or whatever. And I'm not knocking my state because I'm 100% Georgia peach, but I've moved to Florida before,
Period.
and I've moved to Florida before.
Hmm.
I have friends that I went to school with that went to the Carolinas. I have friends that I know that vision impaired that went to Louisiana, that went to New York, and one of them went to Seattle, Washington. So when they left Georgia, they prospered. They was able to find jobs. When I got ready to move to Florida, I hadn't even moved, and they were doing virtual interviews at the time. And
Hmm.
I had 10 interviews and 6 job offers with the vision problem, with everything. They didn't mind giving me a chance. They just wanted to know if I had the credentials. Here, I haven't had that such good odds. And it's the same resume
Okay.
that I'm using here that I was using in Florida. Same, same credentials, some of the same questions they ask. But it's just I don't know. And I was trying to pray on it and see what to do to help, because they said everybody in the other states don't have the issues. But I know from my experience that they offered it quicker to me in Florida than they
Hmm.
did here in Georgia. And especially like I said, Southwest Georgia. They just, you have to be an entrepreneur down there to make it, you know. Sell some watermelons or,
Yeah.
candy or do whatever to make it down that way. Because they're just, and they don't do it just to the visually impaired either. It was other disabilities that they just, I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know that the hang-ups and the thoughts of people, we can't let that get us down, and to hear that and be able to tell another young girl that that we go through struggles too, because everybody think like so peaches, and some people think everything just because we got a vision impairment that everything's so peaches and cream for it. But listening to that, we let them know that we do go through some things in
Right.
life. So what's up next for Miss Octavia?
When I
What's up next for Miss Octavia? What you got going on right now? What's the
what
plans?
what I got going on right now?
Yeah, what's your
Um,
next move? What you
I'm
involved
working.
in?
I'm working on a book.
Okay.
Well, actually, two books. Um, the first one I've been working on have been my autobiography,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been going back and forth with the title, but right now I'm using "Look Where He Brought Me From"
Okay.
as
Let's.
my title,
Okay.
and so yeah, um, and talking about my sickness and how I went visually impaired and everything that I've gone through to make it thus far. And my other book that I'm working on, the premise of it is basically in biblical times how blind people had to beg
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But the basic premise of the book is now, by the grace of God and technology, we don't have to beg anymore. So the title of the book is, "Do you see what I see?"
Okay.
So do you see that I'm able to do now, or what do you see? You know, because I got a vision problem, but I don't think you see what I see. So, and a friend of mine was like, "Girl, you need to go in and finish." But the problem is, I get discouraged, and then
Mm-hmm.
I stop writing, and
We,
she
we,
was like,
we,
"Girl, when you get discouraged, you need to write more."
right. We
Yeah,
see more of the young, healthy, sighted people beg. They beg good. When we in
right.
and out of the store now, they stop it there. You got some change? Blind man, give me $2.
Yeah, I'm hungry. And stuff
They,
like, dude, you can go.
go to work,
Go to
man.
work. You could do something. I tell my stepsister that often. She doesn't do anything. She just lay around and stuff.
Mm,
And I'm like, girl, if I had your abilities, or the
right.
fact that without discrimination stuff going around or whatever,
Mm,
I said I would be cooking with Crisco.
yeah, be
You know?
happy to get up and go to work and
Yeah,
be
yeah.
happy to do things, but
She
you
don't want to do
know,
anything whatsoever.
they feel privileged and everything.
Oh
So.
yeah, and wanted to be handed to them. I have a niece that she has a job and she saves her money and want to spend my brother's. And he was like, "Oh no." And she said, "Daddy, you got enough? You own your own car lot." He was like, "Yeah, but this me and your mama money."
but not enough. Is that a universal thing though? All daughter want to spend their daddy money. Cause I know mine do.
Oh really?
One just
Ooh.
cash, one just cash out me said that send me $8.
Oh my goodness. And I bet you did
Not yet.
it. Oh my goodness.
Not yet. But maybe that's an all dad thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you
I think
spending.
so. Because as old as I am, I can text my dad right now and say it, and he'll cash
Mm,
out. Or
in
he'll
fact,
say, "Do I need to come and get you?"
mm, they'll
And I'm
just
like,
say,
"No, you ain't got to come and get me." You know, even if I just want $8, and then he'll send me 25 because he said you can't do anything with 8.
yeah, yeah.
And that's another thing too. I know right now, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to, I can say I want to go back to Americas, and I can move into my daddy's back room.
Mm-hmm.
Won't have to pay him a dime. I
Right.
can come and go as I please. I know I could, but I don't want that.
The independence is
Yeah,
inside you. That
right,
desire to be on your own.
right. Because he almost begs me to sometimes. He said that way he won't be stressed out because he worried about it.
Right. And the desire to want things on your own and not be given things or handed things or baby or anything like that.
You can appreciate it more.
Yeah.
If you ask me, you can. When you work for what you get, you
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it a lot more because you know what you went through to obtain.
Right.
So yeah, but he'll do that to me often. Yeah, you want to come home anytime, and I got you. And I'm like, I appreciate that, but no, if I needed it, yeah, but no, I am good to go.
Okay.
And I know some people, nothing wrong with them. They would love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you right about that. So I'm
They would,
allowed to be at home and to be babied and pampered. Well, I appreciate your time on the day and we had fun
oh
getting to
yeah,
know
yeah, I
you
enjoyed.
better.
Yeah, I did. I really did.
Getting to know you better and
Yeah.
getting to check you out. Fella, remember blackpeoplemeet.com and check her
No,
out. Uh,
I'm not on none of that, but I am
mm,
on Facebook.
Instagram model. Check her out on Instagram, Facebook Live. You know what I'm saying? OnlyFans. You got OnlyFans?
I don't know what that is, so nah. You
Anything you
got
want to
to
get off?
teach me.
Yeah, anything you want to say before we go?
No, I just appreciate it.
Appreciate you too.
Yeah.
And we thank each and every one of y'all for listening. This is your Isight community broadcast for the week of April 28, 2023. I'm your host, Gabriel Bruce, and our co host, Miss Katrina Brable. We thank y'all for joining us. And don't forget to, when you watch or hear this video, like, share, subscribe. We like for y'all to contact us down in the comments and just communicate with us. Let us know what's going on. We appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. And have a good weekend.